The line of the episode for me was, "You're kissing another man's wife." We're going to get into all of that. This episode, I feel like there was quite a lot to talk about. So I feel like this recap might be quite long. There might be quite a lot of different topics to kind of delve in, and then we can further chat in the comments. I have my trusty llama notebook, and let's just get straight into it. So it's Christmas vibes, but it's not Christmas yet. They're celebrating Christmas a little bit earlier, and they're reminiscing on all the Christmases, the big Christmases, which that's what I've always loved in Sister Wives. They all had different traditions. So all the kids would go to Mary's and make candy canes, and then Mary would make the children a pair of pajamas each, and then they go to Robin's and they'd do sugar cookies, and then on Christmas Day everyone would be together. They'd be huge family gatherings because Cody has 18 children. So all the wives, everyone's together. And Christine actually made an interesting point. She said, actually, in polygamy, that's not normal, that you all come together on Christmas Day. Normally what happens is the man visits the separate wives' houses on Christmas Day, so you only get a section of the day with him. But they just decided they didn't want to do that, and every year they just have always done it together, apart from when the separation happened. Then they started splintering it off, and Janelle and Christine would do their children and Christmas, and then Mary would go over to Robin's and Cody's, and then that was phased out, and Mary was on her own, and then it was just Cody and Robin with their children. So I liked the Christmas vibes. I thought it was cute, the kids doing the little sugar cookies and doing all the icing on it. I thought it was really sweet, and throughout this is just gorgeous Christmas vibes. Oh my god, the cafe that Mary and her friend Jen go to at the beginning, it's like a Christmas shop that has a cafe within it. So they're sitting down, and all around them, I was just looking at the stuff behind them, all the Christmas mugs, all the Christmas aprons. It looks so cozy and so cute. So in this episode, Mary goes off to New York with her friend Jen, and New York looked stunning with all the Christmas decorations. This was obviously filmed last Christmas. All the Christmas trees just lit up so stunningly. Oh, I'd love to go to New York for Christmas. That's like a dream, that one day in my lifetime, when I'm on my deathbed, we're getting morbid, we're 2 minutes in, but when I'm in my deathbed, I can say I went to New York for Christmas. I did all these little things that I wanted to do. I went to Japan, all these things that I really want to do. And Mary, can I just say, I did make a note that reminds me, I just said 2 minutes in. It was at 2 minutes 40 we heard the words Coyote Pass was mentioned, and I thought, here we go, we're going to have an episode long talking about the property dispute on Coyote Pass, but actually we didn't. Actually, it was just a little beginning bit of the episode, and the rest of the episode went into a whole chastity debate, to be honest with you. And I really, with that debate, wanted them to bring in the other wives' opinions on it, but they didn't. But anyway, so Mary's talking with her friend Jen, and she's talking about the land, and she makes some interesting points. I've done a little bit of notes here. That Cody is on all the property. So the property was split into 4, and then Cody was on all the property with each of the wives. And then he wanted his own house at one point, but that didn't work out. And then Christine and Cody made a deal that when she sold off her property, she would keep the sale of her house, but in exchange for giving him Coyote Pass, her bit of Coyote Pass. So Robin and Cody actually own a lot more than everyone else. Obviously, Cody owns the whole thing because it's on everyone's land. But Robin and Cody had their own house, and then now they also have Christine's plot as well, plot on the land. So that was interesting that they own so, because I thought that was the case. I thought they'd mentioned that before, that Cody and Robin own a lot more of the land than everyone else. And Mary wants it to be split equally 4 ways, which includes Christine's land, because she said she wasn't involved in that decision at all. It was a decision made between Christine and Cody, and she doesn't think that's fair because they all put their money in to buy the land. So how come he's kind of getting more out of it than the rest of them? So I thought that was an interesting point about Coyote Pass. Obviously, it's not been resolved in this episode. They're teasing it. It's going to go on and on and on throughout all the other episodes. And so they're just talking about that. And then Aurora has her boyfriend over, was basically the whole episode was talking about that, because it was a wider topic really about, in their religion, Mormonism, about sex before marriage and everything to do with that. There were nice moments within it as well, with Janelle and Christine were decorating a tree, and they were with the grandchildren, lovely little moments and reflections. But really it was very focused on Aurora, who is Robin's 22-year-old daughter. And she had her before she met Cody, but Cody actually adopted Aurora. Robin had 3 children before they met, and he adopted them. And so Aurora is talking about her boyfriend. She's 22. She's had her first boyfriend. He asked her to be like actual official together, and she said yes. And then he comes over to the house, and there's a whole discussion before he comes over to the house, and it's really talking about like, what does this mean to you, being boyfriend and girlfriend, and are you okay with that? We're a bit uneasy, we don't know, and how they both feel about it. But they've already previously met him on separate occasions. And then they're having him around their house to decorate a Christmas tree together, and they're asking him different questions. And then Cody says, oh, do you have a knife, to him, to the boyfriend, do you have a knife? Because he needs to cut something with the Christmas decorations. And Aurora says, oh, I've got a knife. He gave me the knife. So her boyfriend gave her a knife. And then she goes on to explain that they were talking about, she was saying, you know, my parents are very protective of me and I have very loving parents. And he said, oh, well, let me give you this knife so that you can protect yourself against me. If anything happens, you know, you're protected anyway because you've got this knife on you. I'm guessing it's like if I made any advances to you and you said no and I carried on, like that kind of situation. Very bizarre. Just gotta say, I don't know if that's normal there. I have no idea. I have never heard of a man giving a woman a knife to protect herself from him, and that being seen as a romantic gesture. And Robin loves it. She's like, I love it. Oh, they're so cute. And then Cody's like, oh, that's interesting. Let's talk about that a little bit more. Protect from what? And then he talks about chastity and everything to do with that. No sex before marriage because that's their religion. But I have never, ever heard about that before. That gift giving. I've heard of, you know, purity rings, what else? Promise rings, but I've never heard of the knife thing being a romantic kind of gesture. I don't know if it's just like they just did it or if it was a broader, like that's what they do in their area that they live in. Then it went on to a much broader discussion, which was all to do with, Cody was saying, I don't want any of my kids fooling around before marriage. Like, you only do that after you're married. And then he came out with the line, he said, you're kissing another man's wife. If you kiss a woman before you're married to her, then you're kissing another man's wife until you marry her, and then you're kissing your wife. But if you never marry her, then you've taken something away. This is his words, this isn't me. They're taking something away from another man, which is the kiss. And I was thinking, I have 2 sons. If my son was spoken to like that, what would I feel about that? If someone, you know, he's dating a girl, he goes around a house, and then I say, oh, how was it there? You know, you had dinner with her family, and he goes, yeah, well, her dad pulled me aside and then started talking about like chastity, and I need to like basically control my urges and all this different stuff. I think I feel a bit like, oh, but you're not going to pounce. Like, what's that about? And obviously I would have taught my child those things, that if you do this, it leads to a baby. Do you want a baby? Well, and you know, you can't trust that someone's using contraception. You have to be proactive yourself. And if there is a pregnancy, that's it. There is a pregnancy. You can't just walk away from it because you're a boy and you could go off and do your own thing. No, you have to be involved financially and physically there with custody arrangements and everything, you know, if you're not dating the girl. Obviously, if you're married, like, then it's like a simple thing. But if you're, you know, 22 years old, you get a girl pregnant, it doesn't work out, you fall out before she gives birth, then you're going to have to, like, we need to sort out the custody agreements, we need to sort out the financial payments, maintenance and everything like that. I would actually want it to be done legally as opposed to an agreement between the two of them, because an agreement, you know, someone could get a new boyfriend, someone could get a new girlfriend, jealousy comes in, spitefulness, different things happen. You know, I think you should have it down on paper, and I think you should have, you know, joint custody between the two of you. But I just felt like I've never thought about that, because obviously I'm a girl. Like, yeah, I was a girl, now I'm a woman. I've never thought about how would I feel if my son was kind of taken aside by some girl's dad and like intimidated and given a talk to that you better not hurt my daughter, otherwise I'm going to hurt you. Like, but that's my son. But I do get it, because there is so much more on the girl, on the woman. You know, the woman is the one who has to decide the minute she gets that positive pregnancy test, her life is changed forever. But the man, he has 9 months, where in 9 months, you know, there's nothing going on with him and his body. You know, it's just basic biology. From the moment she gets that pregnancy test, she's going to have to make a decision about the baby. She's then going to go through the pregnancy, childbirth, postpartum. She has all of that to deal with. Whereas as a man, as a male, you don't have that side of it. So he's being more protective of his daughters than he is his sons. But I don't know. I don't have a daughter, so I really can't tell you about on this subject. I just thought, oh my God, how weird is that? I've never thought of that. If someone's dad kind of saw my son as like, oh, I better set him straight and have a word with him about something, about this whole dating situation. It just was odd to me because I felt sorry for the boy. I felt that it was kind of a bit embarrassing. Like, you've got this girl here, you've just asked her to be your girlfriend, and then her dad and her mum are in the room and they're questioning you and they're kind of insinuating chastity, and really trying to drum this message home to you that you better protect her and you protect her from your urges, because you don't want to be kissing another man's wife and dating with intention, the intention to be marriage. And I just feel like it was a lot. Like, you're 22. But he did say, I don't want my daughters just dating or just falling around with guys. That's not for me. They have to date with in mind, this is going to be my husband one day. And if they don't envision that person as their husband, then no, they can't date that person. But I feel like that also could box you in, because when you're quite young, you think that everything's so much more dramatic than it is, like your first love, your first heartbreak, but also you kind of don't realise that you've got a long life ahead of you and that you can change course and go in different directions. And so I remember being a teenager, and you think when you make a decision like, that's it, this is the decision for the rest of my life, and that's it. And you don't realise that actually, you can change course, you've got a long life ahead of you. So I feel like if your parent was saying, whoever you like, whoever you have a crush on, you need to marry them, then you'd be like, oh, okay, I have a crush on this boy, I like him, I'll marry him. Whereas, why don't you just get to know them for a while? Why don't you get to know them for a few years? Because then you might say, oh, people change over time, and actually at first they were showing me like everything I wanted to hear, but now I spent more time with them, I'm seeing the real deeper person of them, and I don't think we're compatible. Whereas it's almost setting them down a path of who you are with now, you're going to marry. You're dating with what they call dating with intention, the intention being marriage. Who you are dating now, you're going to marry, that's it. And I think for a young person, you could think, oh, okay, that's it. I'm heading down this path, that's it. Whereas I'm sure if they turned around and said, you know what, I'm dating him, I'm not engaged to him, I don't actually want to go out with him anymore, they go, thank God you told us before you get married. But just as a young person, you might think, oh no, I can't tell them that because they'll be disappointed in me, and they've spent so much time getting to know this guy and I'll just have to go along with it. Like, you don't realise that you could, do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like when you're young, you can be quite rigid in things, because you think you're never going to get old and you're just kind of looking in the immediate thing. And also you cannot realise the consequence of things. You can go, okay, I'll just marry, and not think like, okay, you're committing yourself to 50 years with this person. Because in their religion, they don't believe in divorce. Which also, I'm going to go on to that. So he then had this saying, Cody, where he said, if you're kissing a woman, you're kissing another man's wife until she's your wife and all this. 2 of Cody's wives are divorcees. So Robin was previously married, had 3 children with a man, and then married Cody. And so was Janelle. Janelle didn't have any children with her husband, but Janelle was married before she was with Cody. So this whole thing of chastity, and he said because you're taking something away from another man, if you kiss this woman and you don't have the intention to marry her, or you don't go through with marrying her, which again, go through, they're 22. Oh God, to make such a huge life choice at 22, oh dear. He married 2 divorcees. It didn't change his opinion on them. He's still with one of them, madly in love with Robin, and it didn't make her any less of a woman to him. It didn't make him love her less. Her value was not less to him, because he still went on to marry her and he's still with her to this day. So it was kind of an odd contradiction in that as well, that I don't want you to kind of devalue my daughter's worth, her worth being her chastity, by kissing her, and then because that would go round that she was kissed before, and that it wouldn't be as special if she met the man she was going to marry and kissed him, because he'd just be thinking some other guys kissed you. But also he married 2 divorcees. So you're kind of saying like you're limiting her choices in the future because less men will be interested in her because you've taken something from her. But that didn't stop Cody. He married 2 divorcees. So it's an odd thing as well. I'm like, I get what you're saying from the standpoint of your religion, but it's not what played out in your life. You did marry 2 divorces and you're still married happily to one of them. So it was just kind of a bizarre point. Also, it didn't go to the other wives. So on different topics, it goes around to different wives and they're asked their opinions. So with Mary last week, she kind of got a kick in, I feel, when they were talking about the dating apps. She was on the dating apps and she was chatting with her friend to it. Then in the sit-down interviews, they went and asked every single one of them what they thought of dating apps. And Robin was like, oh God, no. Cody was like, oh no, it's like a resume online. And Christine was saying, yeah, I did like the dating apps for a while. I think that's how she met her one David. And Janelle was like, I would never go on the dating app. And it just felt like they were all kind of punching like oh my God, that's ridiculous, dating apps. Like having a little punch and dig at her. And then now on this topic, they didn't go around and ask each of the women, like, how are you raising your children? Are you saying to them that they have to wait towards marriage, or are you actually, you've changed your mind on that and that's no longer how you feel? It was just on Cody. And I wonder if they did ask them and they said, I don't want to comment on it, because on the Tamron show, Mary did an interview with Tamra, who Tamra used to kind of compare the interviews that they did in the early Sister Wives, that at the end of the series they would do a sit-down interview with Tamron and she would interview them all together and really kind of ask them difficult questions. And one of the questions she was never allowed to ask them was about anything physical, and she agreed that was fine, she didn't want to know. And then now on it feels like they're talking more this series about kind of the physical sides of polygamy and the implications of that. And now obviously in this episode they've covered chastity, which took up like half of the whole episode, to be honest. And they didn't ask the other wives about it, and I wonder if it's because they still have that rule. Maybe Cody and Robin have decided, okay, we'll talk about the physical side of stuff, but maybe the other wives are like, we still don't want to because maybe it goes against our religion. We're just not interested in talking about that part of our lives. I'm talking really more about Christine and Janelle, because I really wanted to know their opinion on it, and especially Janelle, as obviously she was divorced before she was married before she met Cody, then married, then divorced him, and then married. Like, I wonder how she raised her children in that, because she didn't have any children with her first husband. But I wonder how she spoke to her children about that situation, and if she told them to wait towards marriage, or if she said, well, I obviously didn't because I've been previously married and it didn't affect me in a negative way, so do what's right for you. I don't know. I just found that kind of like, it's an interesting topic within Mormonism, because, and it's also something that you can't, like, they're so solid on it that you just know, like, it's just nothing before marriage. That's what they believe. That's it. It was just so much about that, wasn't it? This episode, it just went on. But I did find it interesting because it was just so interesting how he was doing this weird dance with her boyfriend in a way, this like verbal dance of, you know what I mean, protect her from yourself. You know what I mean by that though, like not that you like physical, like protect your urges. Like it felt more, it was just so awkward and also in so many ways as well. It felt like a conversation maybe they should have had just one-on-one. He could, and to not embarrass the boy, maybe he should have said like, oh, come outside with me, let me talk to you one-on-one. But he did it in front of like Aurora and Robin. So you're there trying to talk to someone's dad and you know what they're talking to you about, but they're not saying it directly. And then their mum's there, and then the girl you're dating's there. So you're thinking, oh God, I don't want to say anything that's going to kind of put her off me or like misspeak, and then she gets the wrong impression of me. It just felt like so much pressure. And being a girl, like I never like had that talk. Like you don't have that where you don't go into someone's house and their mum sit you down and go, okay, this is the situation. My son isn't looking to be a dad anytime soon, so I want you to get on the pill. Like it doesn't happen that way round, obviously. So it's just such an experience that as a woman is so bizarre to watch. And also it's not an experience that you would say to, like, as a woman, you don't really sit down, oh, my daughter's boyfriend's coming over, I'll sit him down, I'll give him the chat. Like it's an old-fashioned thing in many ways, an old-fashioned male thing to do together. So I just couldn't, it just seemed so painfully awkward. And they're doing this Christmas tree at the same time, and then the two younger siblings are there as well, doing the Christmas tree. So that's why he can't out loud. Cody can't just say, this is what I'm talking about, because there's 2 younger siblings there. And it's just like, can you let this poor boy do the Christmas tree? And that's actually something that Cody mentioned in this episode, is he said, Robin's shy, so she gets easily embarrassed, but I'm not shy at all. So sometimes I can be quite embarrassing. And I'm a very shy person, so I think as a shy person, you can still feel you're embarrassing though. You can feel that you're not quick enough to keep up with the conversation, or that if you say something and then no one hears what you've said, that's the worst. When a group is talking and they're all kind of bantering back and forth, and then you say something and no one acknowledges what you've said because they haven't heard you, and you're just there like, it's so awkward. But I get what he means, that he doesn't feel embarrassment because he's such an extrovert. Whereas Robin really senses it because she's really shy, and she must have told him that. She must have said like, sometimes that's embarrassing when you did that. I just felt, let the boy put the Christmas. And then oh my God, Cody kept saying, is that mistletoe? I think that's mistletoe. I thought he was going to make them kiss in front of him. I was like, no. This is before they'd had the chastity talk, so I didn't know it was going that way, before the knife had come out. And then when he said the mistletoe, I was like, no, he is not going to hold it up and make his daughter kiss her boyfriend in front of him. No, the embarrassment of that, I'd die. I'd literally go into cardiac arrest right there if that had happened to me. Like, even now, like, I've been with Dom 9 years. If that happened to me, mistletoe was held up and I was expected to kiss Tom in front of, and the embarrassment, I'd shrivel. It's just too much. It's too forced. That's the problem with it. It's too performative. It's the whole mistletoe thing. Ooh. Like, if it's just the 2 of you, and so I had like mistletoe hanging up, and I'm like, we're under the mistletoe, it's just the 2 of us, it's a completely different vibe. But if you're standing under the mistletoe and someone goes, they're under the mistletoe, you gotta kiss. Kill me. I wouldn't be able to deal with that. Anyway, I think on YouTube you're not supposed to say certain things like what I just said, kill and knife. So I love it when you're watching people's YouTube videos and then they start like talking in riddles almost, because they can't say the thing I want to talk about because they'll get to, I'm not monetized, so I don't make any money on my videos, so it doesn't affect me. But I love it when people talk in riddles. I'm like, click off. I just can't listen to it. I can't listen to someone talk about like a serious subject matter and then use really vague terms about, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry, I'm not clicked into this enough. Bye. I've got it playing in the background. I'm zoning in and out. I can't. Anyway, with me, I'll just get straight to the point. I'll never be talking in codes. Straight to the point. I mean, we're half an hour in. I have not got to the point in this at all. But the chastity conversation took up the whole episode. Really, it was just the chastity thing. That really is what happened in this episode, is he was talking about how he feels about it and then trying to weirdly convey it to her boyfriend, where I think if I was a boy, I would much prefer the dad of the girl I was dating to say, come outside with me. It's just the 2 of you one-on-one, and he just says it so direct, quick, like ripping off a plaster. Like, if you sleep with my daughter and get her pregnant, I'm going to go furious on you because she is not having a baby. She's 22 years old. If you sleep with her before you get married to her, I'm going to go mental. And you better not hurt, like, just so much more direct. It's slightly more aggressive, I suppose, if you're doing it in that direct way. It's less jokey, like a friend. But then you just kind of get it. It's like, okay, the chat's done. The chat's out of the way. I get it. I fully understand. There will be consequences for my actions, and this guy's going to make sure that I'm like held to account if I do these things. Okay, well, if I want to do these things, I can't date his daughter. Like, if it's nothing before marriage, and maybe I'm not in that religion and I don't really want to be in that religion. Okay, fine. I understand what you're saying. I'll step aside. I think I personally would prefer that. the bluntness of it, as opposed to, not quite sure what you're saying to me, and there's this weird back and forth. Are we friendly? Are we not? Like, you're reeling me in. I'm worried I'm going to say the wrong thing here, and so I'm on my guard. I'm like playing the perfect guy to you because I don't want to step out of line with you. It was always very Mormon polygamy. I don't get it. I wasn't raised in it. I get it. But also, it's a very interesting topic. Tell me, what did you think about it? And has your son ever come home and said, As like a boy mom, I'm like, this is a new anxiety unlocked, that he's going to come home and say, like, I was literally interrogated at this girl's house that I'm dating, and I don't want to date her anymore because I was interrogated. And you're like, oh, they could have been so perfect, but the dad was like, no. Or the dad was too harsh, and he was like, nah, I can't be bothered with that. Like, no thanks. Or is that just such a universal thing that dads are I think they just are a bit intimidating to whoever you're dating. It's just a natural thing. But as a woman, I'm like, wow, that's so bizarre. You can obviously get sorry, I'm just putting my llama pad down. You can obviously get women who are like really over the top as well. You better not hurt my boy. You better not hurt my boy. I preferred his other girlfriend than you. Like, you can get a nightmare the other way as well. But I didn't feel Cody was being a nightmare. It just, if I was the boy, I would have shriveled and I would have preferred the chat outside. But maybe he doesn't mind. Maybe he's quite extroverted himself and it wasn't like a big deal to him. And also, like, as a female, I've never had anyone do that chat to me, so I don't know how it feels. But let's stop babbling. Let's end this video here. I hope you're enjoying my Sister Wives. So I'm now caught up on Sister Wives. So next episode, it was over this, like a Skype call, wasn't it? A Skype call between Mary, Janelle and Cody. That's the next episode. Obviously talking about the land, and he's like, they're not even going to be, they're being cordial to me. Like, they're not being nice to me in this call. I thought we were going to be friendly with each other. What's going on? But obviously they're coming to the call like, let's get to business. This is what we need to do now to sell the land. Let's get it together and then we can separate from each other fully. And I think he was thinking it was going to be more of like a chat, but we don't know. We haven't watched that episode yet. They can change things. Like this episode, there was a big part of it that I was like, oh, so she didn't say that then. You teased us in the trailer last episode, because I've watched after I watched last week's episode, I hadn't seen the bit that's like coming next week. But then at the beginning of this, it shows you like a recap. But what they had as the coming next week was Mary saying, comb your hair, Cody. And it looked like she was just saying it to the camera, like saying it to him, but it wasn't. Her friend Jen, was saying things. She was saying, you've got to like get a bit of a backbone. So say, where's my money? Repeat after me, say it. And then Mary was repeating after her. So one of the things Jen said was, brush your hair. And then Mary said it because she was just repeating it. It wasn't something that she just organically came out with. Sneaky TLC, very sneaky, because there was a whole thing in this episode about you're kissing another man's wife. You could have used that in the coming up, but you used a weird, odd, like nothing scene. Great. Anyway, I love that. And I love when they go, to be continued. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic. I hate it when they do that on the episodes. I'm looking forward to more Christmas joy because they haven't had Christmas Day yet. So them getting more into the Christmas spirit. I don't believe they've even had Thanksgiving yet at the point that they're filming this. And that's sometime in November. So I'm looking forward to that as well. And then obviously squabbling with who's going to Cody's or no one's going to Cody's, I would imagine. Who knows? That seems to be what the last few seasons have been really revolving around Christmas, is that they're all so fractured and separated and trying to deal with that, as opposed to what they used to have, the big family Christmases. Talking too long. As always, I'm just talking too long. So I'm going to end this video here. Tell me your comments down below on how you feel like the episode was dealt with and your opinions on it. And I will see you. I do almost daily videos, so subscribe to the channel and I'll see you very soon for another video.